Shall we begin?
This is the Drunken Fist podcast with your hosts, David Bordeaux and Justin Plavic. This podcast is made possible by the fans of the show. For more information, visit drunkenfistpodcast.com/fans. Speaking of fans, I want to give a shout out, if it's all right with you, Justin, to two individuals that have shown their support by becoming fans. Do you mind if I do that now at the top of the show?
Oh, please do. They absolutely need a shout out.
All right. So big shout out and huge amounts of thanks to Andrew Kennedy and Magdalena Golden. They definitely stepped up and said that they love the show, or at least like the show, and that they want to show their support. And if you want to learn more about that, or if you too would like to show your support, you can go to drunkenfistpodcast.com/fans, and you can be just like Andrew Kennedy and Magdalena Golden. Again, thank you guys. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It means a lot to us. Hey, David, also, did you know that our iTunes has some awesome reviews too?
Yeah, which is totally crazy because we just launched and we already have like a handful of reviews.
I mean, it's a decent size handful.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Super. I mean, I'm extremely thankful for the support that everybody has shown so far.
Yeah, we love you guys. Would you care if I read one for the show today?
I mean, my ego would love it if you were to read one, so please.
All right. Well, this one is from Pink Bear 42, and thank you again. She says, 4 thumbs up. I'm pregnant, and the baby loved it too. Not sure how she knows that, but hey.
Well, I mean, the babies respond to different stimuli, so I'm sure they have some sort of communication.
Right.
Well, whatever. I don't know. Anyhow, please continue.
Oh, yeah, there's so much more here. Let's see. This was my first podcast experience, and I'm happy that I stumbled upon this. The voices of Justin and David made the listening experience in the car fly by as I was entranced by their topics of beer and martial arts.
Entranced, she says.
I like that use of entranced. I have a go-to podcast now that I can recommend to friends and family who want to have a blissful experience.
Entranced and blissful. Man, well, I'm at least encouraged to know that she's probably not drinking for 2 reasons. One, she was making a reference of the experience in the car. And of course, I am assuming she was driving. And then the more important one is the fact that she's pregnant. So maybe our voices are just entrancing and allow for a blissful experience.
I would have went with sultry, but I think blissful works.
Sultry?
Too.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, hey, either way, thanks, Pink Bear 42. We really appreciate you leaving the review, and for everybody else who's left a review as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Especially on iTunes, that's how the division of Apple Podcasts get found. Like, the more reviews that are there, it brings the podcast up into new and noteworthy and other suggestions and stuff like that. So thank you guys and gals for your support by putting those reviews out there. We really do appreciate it. And I think it's time for me to start drinking.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
All right. You're not going to believe this. I have something other than Guinness today.
Please don't tell me it's Miller Lite.
No. That was one time, okay?
That was a horrible time.
I know. It's like...
Ooh, this is good.
Yeah. Anyway, this one is called a Chocolips. It is a chocolate porter from the Prescott Brewing Company. So thank you, Arizona, for making what looks like it's going to be a good beer. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't even opened it.
Hold on. Are you doing what I'm doing, which is working our way through the states that we live in, the breweries there?
No, this one's just coincidence. I happen to
Suck.
I know.
Damn.
Oh wait, here we go. Hold on. Oh, there it is.
Oh, you're drinking a can too. I too. Well, you probably heard that, but I too am drinking from a can.
You know, I know a lot of people hate drinking beer from a can, but I don't mind it at all.
Well,
Sometimes the glass bottles, I don't know. I like the aluminum taste sometimes better than the glass, depending on what the beer is.
well, the technology has definitely changed over the years. Back in the day, there was definitely you could taste the aluminum, and even the way that the cans were sealed would allow for oxidation. And apparently, supposedly, I anyway, supposedly aluminum, if the inner can is not sealed, like lined properly, you can get oxidation, which changes the flavor of the whatever's in the can. Most typically beers. However, the technology has definitely changed a lot since then, and there are more microbrews or even craft brewers that are adopting the can for a couple of reasons. One, because the technology has changed and it does allow for better flavor preservation, but also it tends to be cheaper. It's more affordable to produce a can than it is a bottle. There's a lot less energy that goes into producing a can, and using aluminum tends to be a bit more sustainable. Although glass, much like aluminum, can be recycled and reused almost indefinitely, there's a larger amount of energy that goes into producing bottles. And you also have the problem with the caps. In some areas, caps are recyclable. In some areas, they're not. So you also produce like a little extra amount of waste with that. But yeah, technology has come quite a long way. And matter of fact, 21st Amendment brewing has adopted the can ideology. They pretty much don't brew used bottles. They just use cans because of how far the technology has come, and they want to step forward to be a bit more sustainable. I happen to be drinking. This one is from Brewdog. Now, you might remember from a few episodes ago, I drank. Oh shit! What was it?
Wasn't it like a plum thing or something?
No. That was from Elevator.
Oh, okay.
Fuck! It was a oatmeal milk stout. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you may remember that I had their stout, Jet Blackheart. That's it, Jet Blackheart, which was phenomenal. It was really delicious. And then, and I even questioned because it said something about like born in Scotland, brewed in Ohio. I found out that BrewDog is actually from Scotland. They have two breweries, brew pubs there in Scotland. They have a brew pub, they say in Columbus, although the stuff is brewed from Canal Winchester, which is just east of Columbus, but a lot of places around here, if you touch Columbus, they say Columbus. They also have one somewhere else, but anyway. So while this is technically brewed in Ohio, the company itself is a Scottish brewery. Now, for those listeners who may not know, Justin was in town in Ohio, in the Columbus area, a little bit ago, and when we got together, we went to, what was it? It was Buffalo Wings and Rings. Yes, and Justin asked the waitress, who's like, "What's the darkest beer you have?" And she's like, "I don't know. We have Elvis juice." And Justin's like, "I'll take that." And I said, "I will."
And it wasn't dark at all.
Oh fuck, no, it wasn't. But Elvis juice is brewed by BrewDog. It comes from BrewDog, and we didn't even know what kind it was. I thought I had that before, but I was very much mistaken. And when Justin took a sip of it, he's like, "Oh, this is an IPA," and I'm like, "What?" And so I drank some, and it was a very interesting IPA. Now, like 11, 12 years ago, I was kind of, I wouldn't say I was into IPAs, but I definitely enjoyed them from time to time. But now, holy shit, I can't go anywhere without some sort of beer being a damn IPA. And as everybody probably already knows, I love my porters and my stouts, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you, Elvis Juice from Brewdog, that was awesome. It came on like an IPA. It had a citrus kind of changeover.
Wasn't it grapefruit?
Yeah, it was grapefruit. Man, look at you. Look at you all remembering stuff.
I know, and I'm not good at that.
But yeah, that was awesome. So I found this. It's called Coco Psycho, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds interesting." And it's a 4-pack for $14 damn. And I'm like, "Holy shit!" So this better be good.
That's a lot.
And it is. It's for 10% alcohol content. It's pretty light. Definitely chocolatey. It's an Imperial Russian stout, so it has that boldness that one would expect. There's some definitely coffee flavors going on there, but this is one that can be very dangerous for me because it's actually pretty easy to drink, and since it is 10% alcohol, I might be on the floor by the end of this episode. Well, fortunately, I only have one with me right now, though. So I'm going to take a sip. Yeah. Justin, what are we talking about today?
Well, hold on. I'm not done with my beer.
Oh, shit. I'm so sorry. I'm so used to me talking so much that I figured you didn't have anything to say.
After taking some sips here, I will say with this beer, the Prescott Brewery Chocolates, it gets a little foamy. But after the foam goes down, so like a half hour later, just kidding. It basically tastes like a chocolate milkshake, honestly. It's actually pretty good. It's got a little bit of bitter in it too, which I like because I'm not a big fan of sweetness, but I am a sucker for chocolate porters and stouts. So as far as chocolate porters go, I think this is like my top 3.
Ooh, nice. I definitely will have to see if they distribute out here in Ohio. If not, it'll definitely give me a reason to visit Arizona. I mean, besides you, of course, to hang out with you. But.
Right. Yeah, because that wasn't going to be ever an excuse.
I mean,
look, I don't want you to hurt yourself. Okay, I'll just send you some as a care package.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if you're gonna be that generous, fine.
All right. What are we talking about today? That indeed. I remember an episode a little while ago. I can't remember which one it was. I think it was like 2 or 3. I don't even know. You had quite the extensive karate history lesson.
It wasn't that damn extensive. I just talked for a long time.
But it was good. I actually learned more about karate than I ever have, besides how much to make fun of it. Yeah. Well, hey, we all know karate's my. Hey, did you happen to see, really quick? Sorry, did you happen to see my photo that I put up on Facebook with the karate game?
Yeah, with the arcade game.
How cool is that?
That was pretty sweet. So for the listeners who who have no idea what you're talking about, you should probably find Justin on Facebook because this goofy guy, he'll post some interesting things from time to time. But go ahead and give the listeners a little background on that photo.
Yeah, I was at a bar called Pins in Columbus.
Yes, mechanicals. Yeah.
Yes, where you can bowl and stuff. Well, it's not like full length bowling; it's like little mini bowling.
Yeah.
And I walked by this machine, and I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And then, so this machine, it is a karate championship old arcade style game. It's got the joystick. It's got a couple buttons, and it plays like Olympic style taekwondo, I would say. Like, so once you tag someone, you get the point. And then the game stops. And then you got to put a quarter in. Thankfully, at Pin, all arcade games are free, so you just press restart. Yeah. And so I took a picture of that, put up, and I, just for you, David, said that is karate at its best.
Yeah, I love it. I'm glad you're thinking of me. Oh,
I instantly thought of it.
But as you were saying, I was talking about karate, and you went and took that photo thinking of me because you're awesome.
Yeah. I try. Yeah, I got off topic. Sorry.
No worries.
But today's topic is we're just going to talk a little bit more about Wing Chun today. The last episode we talked about I didn't go in too much of a depth, but this time I hope to give people a little bit of history lesson. I do want a disclaimer. Wing Chun is an oral, it's passed down orally, so there is no written scripts or anything. If there is any, there's little to none. So the big problem is there's like over 10 different stories. So
when
listeners,
you say stories about what?
how Wing Chun started, its history.
Oh, the history you're saying?
Yeah. Sorry, did I not say
Yeah,
that?
definitely. You might have, but I think you just kind of got right into it. But who knows?
I don't know. I get excited over this.
The listeners will definitely correct us one way or the other.
Oh, yeah, and I'm okay with that. But so really quick, just a reminder, Wing Chun, remember that is a style of Kung Fu based on really rapid movements and attacking and protecting the center line at the same time. So a lot of fast movements and simultaneously attacking and defending. It's pretty cool.
All right.
But anyway, I'm going to tell you a history that was passed down to me. So listeners out there, if you have a different story, you have little tweaks or anything, please let me know, comment, and I would love to hear it because there are so many different stories where this is just the one where this is the one where I like the most.
All right.
So
Justin, tell us the story. I'm very, very captivated right now.
I know.
Entranced even.
And we all know I like to tell stories. So story time, ladies and gentlemen,
Let's
here we
do
go.
this.
Once upon a time, there was a time in China where Kung Fu masters around, if they didn't like what was happening with the moving into the Qing dynasty, the leader at the time was putting these guys to death. So Shaolin temples were being ransacked all over the place, all over China, and many did not escape. But there was one that did, and it happened to have been a Kung Fu master. Her name was, and just a disclaimer, I'm going to get every single pronunciation wrong. I do not speak Mandarin or Cantonese at all very well. So please.
It was probably Cantonese anyway.
Probably, because I think it's more of a northern art, which happens to be more Cantonese speaking. The Shaolin monk's name was Nu Mei. I'm sorry, people. I know I probably got it wrong, but that's how I'm going to pronounce it for now. Don't hit me too much. She developed a style of snake and crane kung fu. There's lots of reasons why. Some say that she actually witnessed a snake and a crane fighting in the wild when she was taking a walk. Others think that those styles just happen to complement small-statured people really well because of their speed. And one day, a person named Wing Chun comes along. And she is in love with another person. But the problem is she also attracted the attention of a warlord. So before she can even mess around with anything with Mr. Bach, the warlord had an idea and he was like, all right, I will stop pursuing you if you can beat me in battle. Which, by the way, what a dick move. You want to fight a girl?
Right.
I'm not sure how that's going to work out if she lost because, it's like, oh, hi, honey, I beat you, remember? Now you're my wife. I don't understand that, but we'll keep going with it. Sorry, my wife gave me a look, and I was like, uh-oh. She doesn't know what we're talking about. My headphones are in. Yeah,
Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I don't want her to know. She'll listen later, maybe. Probably not. All right. So Wing Chun got the attention of Nu Mai, the Shaolin monk that disappeared for a little while and had to go into hiding. She agreed to teach her the martial art that she knows, mixing the styles of snake and crane, and basically saying, like, this is going to be perfect for you. It's super fast. All you have to do is get past big movements. So when the fight actually came with Wing Chun and the warlord, she used Nu Mei's style of kung fu that she was taught and was successful. Okay, so the idea was she was able to keep pressing him with super fast movements. He got dazed and disoriented, and after hitting the same spot too many times, he gave up. Bitch. Anyway, just kidding. I'm sure she hit very hard. Now, after that, that's the most widely accepted story for Wing Chun, for how it very, very, very first started and got passed on to Wing Chun. And then Wing Chun got married to a Lin Bok, I believe. And then this is where Wing Chun starts to trickle down and become in opposite directions all the time.
Right.
Before I keep going, do you want to say anything or add anything?
Oh man, do I? Well,
I'm just going in like kind of like an order here. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, like you said, there are a handful of different stories. Most of the stories essentially center around. Now, I can't pronounce the first name. You refer to it as Nu. The last name, I understand it to be Moy, but regardless, so I'll say Nu Moy.
Yeah, it's probably close
this
to
individual. The most accepted idea was that Nu Moy watched two animals fighting, and like you said, the most common two animals were crane and snake. There are a few variations of the different animals, and I'm going to come back to that.
Okay.
Because even just the story itself, there are some things, especially when it comes to branching off. But from watching the crane and snake, or two other animals, depending on whichever story you have heard, she developed basic movements primarily based on the crane's system of defense and attack at the same time, defending with a wing out and very fast, brutal strikes with the beak. But while even so, there were also snake movements within that. But she went on to alter and refine traditional kung fu techniques to kind of fit with these new techniques that she has identified and developed. And then with that, she's also mixed a very, very fast percussive system of impact. And some will say that it's thought to be due to the quick strikes of the beak from the crane. But the core idea is watching these animals, taking her kung fu background, adapting the kung fu that she already knows, creating some techniques or movements that she's witnessed from the snake and the crane, and then really emphasizing the fast movement. That kind of became the core of her new unnamed kung fu. Now, with Yim Wing Chun, there are a few different aspects of this idea of a warlord, in that some where she almost like completely dispatched him, like left him within a threat of his life kind of deal, and then others like what you had quoted, with him kind of giving up. But
I'm referring to him as bitch warlord, yes.
AKA bitch warlord. But the thing is, her using this unnamed kung fu style definitely made her able to finally marry another kung fu fighter, which is Lung Bok Chow, something like that. I probably nothing like that.
It's either Cho or I don't know.
We need to have an episode when it deals with language and stuff. But anyway, he actually really respected the unnamed kung fu style, but it was through his influence that supposedly the idea of knife, spear, and long staff kind of came into this unnamed kung fu style. And speaking of unnamed kung fu, supposedly it was the husband of Yim Wing Chun that named the art Wing Chun after his wife. And some will even argue it's like, but that's Nu Moy's art. She should have been the one who's named with that. But even just this story alone, there are a handful of things that I would like to talk about in a little bit, but I'm going to hand this back over to Justin to go wherever he may.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, I'm just going kind of chronologically here. I'll probably end it with like It Man, but
good, because that's where I'm going to pick back up.
Perfect. Because to me that's like where Wing Chun is most modern. Like anyway, I'll get there. But anyway, after Bitch Warlord, I'm calling him that for many reasons. One,
Bitch Warlord.
He got his ass kicked, and two, fighting what you want to be your future wife is probably not a good way to go about it. But whatever.
Truth.
So that's my reasoning there. But anyway, after that, the story or the history of Wing Chun starts to trickle down a little bit. So there is a lot of people are accepting the fact that, like, well, Lin Bak and Wing Chun traveled a little bit with the theater, the traveling theater. Do you remember what that's called? There's a specific word for it. But again, it's probably in Chinese that I can't pronounce.
Yeah, I'll say that I know, but I just don't know how to pronounce it, even though I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm not even going to try. I don't want to lose listeners because they're like, man,
no,
you cannot
we'll
speak
gain
Chinese.
listeners
Look.
Because there'll be people who will specifically listen to us just to indicate. It's like, you did not pronounce that correctly.
I think we both can pronounce Japanese pretty well.
I mean,
I took a semester in college. Yeah. Anyway, so during the theater and stuff, it started to become its own art, and they traveled by boat a lot. The idea was this is where some of the weapons are going to start coming into Wing Chun. So Wing Chun is starting to be molded and spread around through people who want to learn. Because just right before that traveling, Ling Bak Cho and Yin Wing Chun, they supposedly opened up their own little secret school. So if people wanted to learn, they could go learn Wing Chun. And some of those students happened to have been like Chan Wu Shan later and more of Lun Bak's children, supposedly. But I'm always like, if it's a secret gym, how the hell are people supposed to come find you and learn?
Well, I mean, there are, even like in Japan and Okinawa, there were these secret things that if you knew a person that knew a person kind of deal, and if you have certain social status, you're able to find these things. So.
Right, kind of like an endless game of telephone. All right. Well, anyway, this is where the long pole starts to come in because of they used the long pole in not only their theater but also to row the boat when they needed to. And these guys were kung fu experts apparently, and did amazing with the long poles. And they decided to share their knowledge with each other, and that's where that started to form. The only one that's really fuzzy for me, and no matter how much I researched, there's just too many people's interpretation and opinions on it, so I'm sort of leaving it out, but I will say I have no idea where the butterfly swords came from. There's not a lot, or Bat Cham Do, as they're called.
Supposedly that came from her husband. However,
right.
But
I
like you said, there are a lot of stories, and even so, from what I understand of this guy's supposed, and the only reason I say supposed is because what I'm about to say later regarding the story, his supposed kung fu lineage didn't have them in his style. So where did it come from? Now there's a chance, because obviously they travel. I was unaware of certain aspects of the story, but if they travel and if they are influential and know people and whatever, it's very possible that the butterfly came from some system or style or art or whatever that was not his main style or art. So, I mean, there is that chance. However, much like what you're expressing, is there's no definitive answer. And even it's not even close to definitive. It's really kind of fuzzy. You have to make these assumptions, these speculations, these jumps here to just kind of suspend disbelief, I guess. I mean, not that it's disbelief, but it's the idea of like, well, that could happen. That might have been where it came from.
Right. And since there's nothing written down, it's purely power of the tongue. And there's unfortunately been so many different stories. I do know that New Mai or New Mo, how do you pronounce it?
Moy.
Moy. I do know New Moy. She was a Shaolin monk, and the Shaolin invented the butterfly swords as a strictly defensive weapon. It wasn't even supposed to be fully sharp. There were only certain parts of it that were sharp.
True, but
so I wonder if Yin Wing Chun maybe learned it from her, but didn't really pick it up or enjoy it much, and maybe taught it to somebody else and it blew up.
Maybe, but the supposed story though is that the art that Moy passed down was an unarmed art.
Right.
So, I mean, it very well could have been that could have been passed down.
And there's always that possibility where it just came way later. You know, a lot of people like to add stuff to arts and put their own spin on it. Somebody along the line might have just been
wait till I get to my next part.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll get to your part because I'm going to start finishing up here. We're already at 30 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Let's get going.
All right, I'm going. The next part, though, I'm just going to jump right in because there's already you already have the children of Yin Wing Chun. You already have another man named Chan Wuxian, who I'm going to kind of focus on right now. Chan Wuxian was, for those of you that don't know, Ip Man's teacher.
Right.
And he accepted him when he was a teenager. And he was already starting to go kind of on, unfortunately, his deathbed. So there's a lot of speculation of how much Wing Chun did Ip Man actually learn? But you got to remember, when you have master and students, you always have a successor. So there was probably someone just as good teaching Ip Man right after that.
Oh, yeah.
And there was. I just can't remember the man's name. But Ip Man, I'm not going to touch on the movies or anything like that. He was a man who most of the Wing Chun community hold responsible for making it known around the world. Yeah. He started schools, he started federations, he moved all over. He shared his knowledge. He's also gets a little bit of credit for teaching Bruce Lee for a little while.
Right. Just a little.
Just a little. I mean, he only did it for like 3 years. I know a lot of people get mad at like Bruce Lee and the Wing Chun thing, but when you're good at something, you're good at something. You know, Bruce Lee's one of those martial artists that can pick something up and be like, okay, I got this. So I'll give him that. But it really wasn't that much time. But yeah, Ip Man, he was responsible for basically spreading this thing across the world. And there's federations today, thanks to him, that are still going on. And his sons are actually still teaching.
Yep.
You can go to China right now and it's $60 American. And Ip Chun, I believe, will teach you, and that's your month's fee.
Wait, 60? Like, what does that get me? Like one class a month?
Last time I looked, dude, it was $60 for a month.
Fuck, I'm going to China.
That's what a lot of people do. Dude,
that'd be sweet.
There's some cool documentaries on Wing Chun, like people going and traveling there, and there's only one American that actually did Wing Chun and opened up his own school, and he's actually supposedly accepted. But he's a big guy. Really? Okay. Yeah. He uses a lot of I think he trains tactical people and stuff. But this is kind of my point too on why I kind of segued off. Ip Man started all of that. Without him, Wing Chun might have been known at all. But I mean, it's a possibility because there were other students. He wasn't the only one. Right. But he was probably what we could consider the best teacher. And I'm not going to go into that because there are some people who say he wasn't a good teacher, but I mean, it just depends which biography you believe.
Well, I mean, it's you have all different types of views. You have people that are for, you have people that are against, for a variety of reasons. I mean, I've never met the guy, so I can't pass judgment other than what I have read from other sources. And I've read some sources that have had great times with him. I've had some sources that are like, meh. And, it is what it is. I mean, the gentleman is no longer here, and, you can only guess so much, but it is what it is.
Right. But and regardless how you feel, I mean, it is what it is. He he made Wing Chun popular. I mean, it's like a fact.
Well, let me get into the idea that there is strong speculation that the story of Nu Moi and even Yin Wing Chun happened to be created by Ip Man. And the reason why that this is kind of like one of those known controversial things, but like a lot of people are like, yeah, that's probably it, but no, is that past Ip Man, there is no documentation of this Nu Moi or Yin Wing Chun. I mean, yes, Ip Man has his master, but this was all passed orally. And Ip Man was the one who penned the story of this supposed lineage. Now, there are a wide variety of reasons why people look at this and think that the story was created by Ip Man. But one thing to kind of think about beyond the whole idea of Nu Moi, more or less not existing in Chinese history, is the fact that even the idea of Nu Moi watching a crane and snake fighting and then developing a style is the identical story to the older and more established Tai Chi Chuan. And I pronounced that incorrectly, so I apologize. But if you're American, most of us pronounce it Tai Chi Chuan, which is completely inaccurate. But it's the exact same story that where Tai Chi came from, which is more established, more credible. Doesn't mean that that story exists. And oh man, I could just feel the flames coming already. That heat. But the thing is that
I know
the story of how Tai Chi started was the exact same story of a person watching a crane and a snake fighting, developing the basic movements, altering and refining other gung fu, and adding very specific techniques. Now, not the very fast percussive system that supposedly Nu Moi added, but it's a complete like lift, if you will. It almost, I mean, I don't want to say plagiarism, but those have argued that it is essentially a plagiarism regarding that. Now, there's something that's very important to kind of understand is that, and it's hard for me to understand because I don't know enough about this. So even what I sort of know through secondary and tertiary sources, I might even sound like a damn fool by saying this, is the idea that within Chinese martial arts, it is kind of a given or a known that some of the histories are more or less mythical. And
well, no, I agree with that.
And they are understood or accepted, even though knowing that either it isn't real or probably isn't real. But what happens is that you're able to kind of join together under a unifying umbrella story and create an identity. And beyond Ip Man, the idea of Nu Moi and Yin Wing Chun don't necessarily exist at all. And the only one that might and kind of has shown some traces through history is Yin Wing Chun.
Right.
However, even that is extremely fragmented.
Right.
So this, what is more or less the accepted story, appears to not really have been true. Only because of the fact that Nu Moi and Yin Wing Chun do not show up in Chinese history, history, not oral traditions or things of that sort.
No.
So
there's no physical piece of tangible evidence. That's the problem.
Exactly. And the idea is that Ip Man was a very smart, business-minded individual. He understood how to get things out. He understood at the time, which was known as propaganda, but nowadays we'll refer to it. We refer to it. Oh man, this beer is good.
As advertising.
We refer to marketing, but yeah. But he was very schooled in the idea of propaganda. He knew how to help to influence others. And what was really cool about Ip Man is that he was seen as more or less a gentle individual, kind of an unassuming at times, although some will even argue that. But because of his understanding of propaganda, or again, what we refer to nowadays as marketing, he was able to persuade and to influence people without them even knowing, or at least being admitting to his influence. So he's definitely a great marketer of things. Now, by no stretch of the imagination, I need to put this out here, is that in no way do I damn him if he did create this story. No way do I damn him if he did not create the story, but can't show beyond him where the hell it came from. The really interesting part of this is that it really kind of brings it back to it. If it was not for Ip Man, the likelihood of Wing Chun being known the way that it is now might not have happened.
No. And you also got to think about it too. You mentioned the Tai Chi story. Do you remember when I took your Tai Chi class? Do you remember what I said to you?
You made references to how or where, like, now I know where Wing Chun stole a lot of techniques or something to that general effect.
Yeah, to be nice, we'll say not stole, but borrowed.
Fine. Yeah, I remember now. You said borrowed.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just had to think a little bit harder. Sorry.
No, that's all right. The main point is though, like, a lot of kung fu is intertwined, and everyone borrows from everybody. There's nothing wrong with that. All martial arts are that way. But the thing that really got me when I took your Tai Chi class, I was like, damn, I think historically, if you put this on a timeline, yes, Tai Chi came first. And then if you look at Wing Chun and you look at its very skewed history, it's quite possible that it was more likely that not only Snake, Crane, but Tai Chi probably influenced Wing Chun as too. What I felt just from that lesson you gave me, there seems to be a lot of hidden Tai Chi in there a little bit. Or vice versa. I would like to say that, only because, I predominantly do karate and tai chi now. Right.
It would feel good to be like, yeah. But in all reality, I don't know. And much like what we've talked on other episodes and we've talked in person is the idea that there are a lot of martial arts that have taken, outright stolen, borrowed, and just cross-referenced techniques in that. And, so I wasn't there when Tai Chi was created. I wasn't there when Wing Chun was created.
Exactly.
So it is what it is. But kind of getting back into the story thing, supposedly the whole burning of the Shaolin Temple never happened. Again, propaganda. But we don't want to take too much time getting into all of these myth-busting things. So
no, we could literally,
if you were very interested,
segue on every single word.
Man. Oh my gosh. So if you are interested, and if you really want to know the history, look into the burning of the Shaolin Temple, and definitely look into the areas where it shows that historically that never happened.
No, not during that dynasty.
But hey, it is what it is.
That's the only issue too. You have some. How do I say this in a nice, politically correct way? You have some misconceptions.
We're not politically correct.
Oh, I know.
What?
We have some misconceptions with the Wing Chun history, just because there is a lot of things on the timeline that don't quite make sense. But you know what? Right. We did our best. listeners, if you want to learn more, there's so many different styles of this story. It's ridiculous. Give it a shot, and then it just comes down to what you want to believe in or what has been passed down to you. Either way, it's history, and I love history. Just keep it alive.
The thing that for me is really important is not the history itself, is just the art that exists right now.
Right.
The art that exists as it is. And much like what we were talking about, where different styles, arts, whatever, kind of borrow from different things, there are things that I still take from my experience in Wing Chun and put that into what I do today. And I'm telling you, for people who are interested in self-defense or even mixed martial arts as a sport or just as a martial tradition or martial art, I guess, I highly recommend looking at Wing Chun for the kicking, especially like if you're thinking about self-defense style or even mixing the different martial arts or integrating martial arts. Look at the Wing Chun kicking, especially the leg hook kick, the groin hook kick, and the scoop kick. Those are what I would refer to as essential if you want to add those to your toolbox for self-defense or even mixed martial arts.
And if you're like me who can't kick high, the Wing Chun doesn't typically kick over the belt.
And most karate styles don't tend to kick, we say waist level, but really higher than solar plexus. But generally, most traditional karate doesn't kick higher than the waist as it is. And getting back to the self-defense idea, the idea of punches, it's really, oh my goodness, I really, really recommend everybody to look into the difference between Western boxing and Wing Chun, the Wing Chun punches, and the way that the philosophy is behind the techniques, especially the straight blasts. Because if you are able to open up your opponent and get in with the straight blast, there's so much damage that can be done, or even time that can be bought with the straight blast. And then, go ahead, man.
Oh, I was gonna say maybe I could do a seminar and show people that.
We definitely need to do something like that. And I also recommend, like, when you get close quarter, Chi Sao, Folk Sao, Tung Sao, Lap Sao, Pak Sao, those are all great close range trappings, techniques that can be utilized, especially in self-defense, but also in mixed martial arts, including the idea of sport martial art. And then when you get to the grappling area, you have Pao Sao, Bong Sao, and then even Folk Sao, both mounted and in the guard. If you were to incorporate those things from Wing Chun into your self-defense or even mixed martial arts or integrated martial arts, those things would elevate your level by magnitudes. Now, why? One, because not a whole lot of people do those things. And if you watch any sort of sport, if you even watch self-defense things, people are most ready to defend against things that they know.
Right.
And within Wing Chun, though, the things that I just went on about and whatever, they're not seen in many other arts, and they are very valuable to help you with, like, your kicking, your punching, your close quarter trapping, and even your grappling. So, yeah.
And don't knock it. A lot of people knock it against boxing and say it doesn't work against boxing. It's the artist themselves that has to be good at it. You have to understand all concepts of Wing Chun. You can't just be like, oh, I know how to punch like Wing Chun, so it doesn't work against a boxer.
Well, the thing is, like, when you talk about a boxer, are you talking about in the sport of boxing or boxing techniques?
See, I'm glad you asked that, because when I think boxing, I think like street fighting, just your typical cross punch jab kind of thing.
Because I'll tell you what, when it comes into, let's call it a self-defense scenario,
right?
When it comes to that, really the person, and this is really the question of, is Wing Chun effective or does Wing Chun work? It really comes down to who is better skilled in what art, and
Right.
who is better ready for other techniques that they may not be ready, trained in. So if you have a great skill, like great level of skill in Wing Chun, and you are familiar with other arts, you have a better opportunity to defend against other techniques and things of that sort, and utilize the techniques that you do know to your advantage. So it really comes down to what is it that you know, which is another reason why I strongly recommend, if you have the opportunity, to pick up some Wing Chun. If not, like, learn it as a system and get it under your belt, metaphorically and literally, which I don't know how you can get it under literally. So I guess metaphorically. But, okay.
Well, if
whatever.
you look at it too, the just to sell it more if we're not selling it enough for you, the don't forget Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's art that he created, is basically like the 101 root of it is from Wing Chun, and even he
Yeah,
says
it is built on that framework. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's where all my self-defense is based off. I mean, knowing the jiu-jitsu and doing locks is awesome and stuff. That's big on self-defense. But the Wing Chun, I will admittedly say, is like, that's, I go more towards that for self-defense nowadays.
Well, for me, like with my martial art and what I do with regards to self-defense, and I'm, again, going to mispronounce this. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to mispronounce this. What I tend to focus most on is the BUG, which is the third form, which is essentially what some refer to as the oh shit form. When everything else is supposedly failed,
That's how you recover.
This is the thing that you use to recover and to save your ass. But I love it for the finger. Okay, we probably should be ending this soon. The finger thrusts, elbows, the low kicks, the sweeps, the counterattacks when your structure has been compromised. I don't know what it is about that, but it really speaks to me. And I do know that part of it does definitely have, like what we were talking about before with the whole crane and snake idea. The third form definitely has a lot of snake come through in it, but
it's like mostly snake.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. But I could talk for hours regarding that, and I know that we've already talked quite a bit right now. I do have to ask though, have you seen any of the Ip Man movies?
I saw every single one. I even saw one where he was old, and I'm not even sure if it was the same director. And then there was a prequel one too, and again, same deal. So I've seen every single one.
Okay, so even the modern ones, like the 1 through 4.
Yeah.
Shit, I've only seen 1 through 2, and I feel like a really worthless piece of shit because, like, I really like those movies. It has nothing. For me, I don't view it as a historical document.
Oh, they're not even close to being historical.
Oh my goodness,
no,
dude! And
but they are amazing movies.
I've talked to so many people that are like, "Oh yeah, that's like totally the way it is." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?" But
and we'll talk about this when we do an Ip Man episode because I could go on forever with this.
I like that. Maybe we should do an Ip Man. All right. Well, anyway, I guess I will round out to say that I've not seen the third and fourth one, and maybe after we wrap up this episode, I'll throw on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Hulu or wherever it might have it. I also have Plex, so maybe my buddy who has the server. Anyway.
And dude, Mike Tyson is in the third one.
I know, which is
ridiculous.
Gotta
watch that.
That's just ridiculous. So I totally want to watch that. One other ridiculous thing that I would like to add or end with. Do you know who Master Wong is? Master Wong.
Hold on.
Happens to be a Wing Chun.
Smith is about like the equivalent as Chinese Wongs. So, are you talking about Ip Man's student?
No. This guy,
Oh, the ball guy?
the ball guy. I know many of our listeners will be like, right now, be like, oh yeah, fucking Master Wong, and other people are like, oh my fucking god, Master.
I've never seen someone swear so much in martial arts history.
Dude, he's like my spirit fucking animal. I'm bald and I cuss all the damn time, and it has nothing to do with.
I know,
I mean, it does have everything to do with my military background, but
but
whatever.
it's so funny.
Oh man.
But what
I love
about him? What
Master.
about him?
Well, I just wondered, like, if you've watched any of his videos or his courses or anything like that.
I see just a couple clips, and he's a lot. So I need him on a day where I'm not in a bad mood, because I already need to be in a good mood to watch him so I can laugh. If I'm in a bad mood, I'm just like, I can't fucking listen to this guy.
Fair enough. I totally.
But
get that.
he seems to know his shit. Honestly,
I mean, to a point, but he'll also talk shit about people who talk shit about him, which I really like. But he to me he does seem to be a decent martial artist. I mean, he knows things that I don't, so by no means am I trying to put myself above him or not, or under or whatever. But as a personality, I really like him. And there's times when I talk to other people about Wing Chun, I'm like, oh, like Master Wong. I'm like,
Master Wong, yeah.
God damn
that
it!
comes up a lot.
I mean, like, most people will say Ip Man, but Master Wong, really? I mean, but he's out there. Anyway,
no, he's pretty decent, and like the only critique I can give him is I just don't like his wooden dummy form.
You know,
it's just a little bit different than what I know, and that's the only reason.
That is actually, I've not seen any of his dummy forms, so that gives me something to look into, and that actually kind of interests me, excites me, because I've watched his Yang style Tai Chi, watched his Chen style Tai Chi.
He does Tai Chi?
Oh my goodness, dude! Yeah, he's like he is the Wing Chun Tai Chi person. But
shit, I didn't know that.
But like, even his martial application for Tai Chi is kind of interesting. But this isn't a Tai Chi episode, so I'll refrain. But anything else to add about Wing Chun that you didn't cover, that you wanted to, that we should have covered?
I mean, no, honestly, I thought we did a really fair history lesson on what was either most widely accepted, or we segued a little bit to our own opinions and put our own thoughts into it, which that's kind of why I wanted to do it in the first place.
Fair enough.
I really honestly have nothing to add. How about you?
Shit, man. This beer feels pretty good, so I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, that was a 10, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's a 10, but, I kind of also started to drink a second can of it, so...
Oh, I've been done with my beer for 30 minutes in.
Lame. You don't have another one? Whatever.
Anyway. I was saving it for the next show.
Oh, okay. Well, for the next episode, whatever that might be. All right, guys. Yeah, so how the hell do we end this? I don't even remember. That's all.
We'd start talking about... I got this.
Oh.
Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you so gently could. We might even read it. Also, subscribe on Stitcher. We're on Spotify.
I've noticed that there are more subscribers that are coming through on Spotify. And check this out. Now, I know that this might feel a little creepy for listeners, and I'm sorry if this does, but
Oh, it's going to creep you out. Oh, no.
Shit. But for people that do podcasts, Spotify gives us statistics of certain things, like, the general age of people, blah, blah, blah. Most things give those kind of statistics. But what I really fucking love about Spotify is that it actually gives some statistics on the music that Spotify listeners tend to listen to, who also listen to our podcast. And so for those of you who are out there listening on Spotify, I want to say thank you, because I too love My Chemical Romance. So
Why couldn't we be connected to Bad Company or Ozzy Osbourne or something?
Nope. None of that shit comes up. A bunch of other shit that I've never heard of, but for whatever reason, My Chemical Romance is up there. And so for
What's the worst thing I could say?
so for you fuckers out there who are just like me who listen to MCR, I'm right there with you. Anyway, take it.
Makes me want to end it all.
Fucking round us out, Justin. Finish this shit up.
Again, we would love it if you guys could take a picture of what you're doing while listening to the podcast. That would be nice. I know David would like that.
As long as it's clean.
Yeah, please. We don't want any inappropriateness. We're a family show. Okay, that's a fucking lie.
Yeah, family
Not
show.
even a little bit. But anyway, also thank you for everyone on our Patreon who have donated. If you guys like us that much, if you want to jump on that, that'd be great. It would only help us get better equipment. And we're both poor teachers, so that won't happen until we get a little help. I don't even know what the Patreon page is on.
drunkenfistpodcast.com/fans.
Okay, that's what it is. Yeah, because that's our main website.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will learn our Patreon page a little better. And David is nice enough to give you a link to everything that we just already said with the Spotify, the Apple Podcasts.
If you just go to drunkenfistpodcast.com, you can find all that bullshit.
He's a pretty good dude.
Aww.
Anyway, anything, David?
No, that's pretty much it. Until we hit the mats again. Thank you for drinking with us. Juice.
Bye.